Hello, curious minds. It's fantastic to see you back on this incredible journey of becoming a generative AI professional. Today, we are going to step our feet in the amazing world of coding with a simple introduction to Spyder code editor. A quick recap of what we started in our last sessions. We are on a journey to understand the generative AI world with a view from sky and gradually getting on the professional ground. For this, at the 100,000 feet view, which we have completed in our past session, we have seen what data science, machine learning, and generative AI is. The links for all the previous and future videos is present in the description if you would like to navigate around in this journey with on your own path. The next thing that we completed in the previous session is the 50,000 feet view of high-level understanding of the foundational topics within data science and machine learning to get us bootstrapped with just enough terminologies. In our last session, we have completed Anaconda installation on our local computer, and which means that we are absolutely ready now to start our coding. So let's code while having a walkthrough to the Spyder editor. Also, just note that along with Spyder, Anaconda installation has also provided us Jupyter notebook, which we will use for coding in our next session. Time to go to the garage. Alright everyone, let's get started by launching the Spyder editor. Since we have completed the installation in our previous lesson, we have a list of programs like Anaconda Navigator, Spyder, and Jupyter Notebook that we can use to start our coding journey. Let's click Spyder. First time, the launch may take few additional seconds, so let's wait while it is starting. Alright, the editor is started now. We can observe sections that the code editor has created for us. On the left is our code window. You can see that a temporary temp.py file has been created for us. Then there are some windows on the right. We will see use of these windows in just a few minutes. Let's start with writing the most famous program, which is Hello World. We will simply print Hello World and save the file using the save icon or by pressing the Ctrl S button. To run the program, you can click on this play button or Ctrl E for execute as a shortcut. Now, as soon as we execute the program, there is a new console window with the same name as our program name has been created, and it has printed Hello World as well. So congratulations, we completed our first small program in Python. And moving on to the next thing that we want to see is how to create a variable and use its value. Let me create a variable called myString variable and assign it a value of hello world 01. And let's print the variable using print statement. Now with editors like Spyder, you will get support of IntelliSense, which means that as soon as you start typing, the IntelliSense will suggest the variables that are already declared in your program. As soon as the variable name is popped up, just press the tab key to make use of it. Now when I run the program again, you can see it here in the console window. It has printed hello world 1 and hello world 2 as expected. Now one more thing that we can observe here is that the variable window has also popped up with the variable that we just created in our last execution. The name of the variable is myString variable, type is string, length is 14, and the value of it is hello world 02. This is particularly important when you are going to write longer program. You would want to see the different variable and their values when the program is executed. And of course, it is very important while debugging the program. You would want to see how the variables are getting changed when you debug the program line by line during your development phase. The debugging feature in Spyder is very similar to most of the other code editor like the VS Code. So we will see the debugging now. You can move your cursor to the left side of the line and you can see a small red dot created here. As soon as you click it, it will create a breakpoint on that line of code. Also, you can always go to the menu and here you can see the shortcut to create the breakpoint, which is F12. Either you can use the cursor or just use F12 to create the breakpoint at the code line. Now, given that we have created a breakpoint, so instead of executing the whole program, we will debug it this time. This is the button that will allow us to debug file. Again, the shortcut to debug file, as you can see in the pop-up menu, is Ctrl F5. As soon as I click the button, you will observe few things that will happen in the console window and the variable explorer window as well. Given that our breakpoint is on line 3, when I click the debug button, the code will execute only line 1, line 2 is blank, and then it will halt at line 3, which means that line 1 hello world 01 will be printed in the console window. Variable window will wash out because there are no variables created until the breakpoint, while we can see the code will halt at line 3. Let's see it. Alright, it's little quick, but you can see in the console window, hello world 1 has been printed, variable explorer has been washed out, there are no variables in the current execution yet. In the code window, you can see a little arrow hiding behind the breakpoint. This basically represents that the code has executed until this line. This line is the next that will get executed now. To execute line by line, you can use the option run current line, or shortcut to do that is Ctrl F10. As soon as we run the current line, what will happen is that it will create a variable in Variable Explorer for us to see that what variable has been created and what is the value of it. It will still not print the variable because the execution will halt at the next line of code. Let's do it. Okay, line is executed. We have the variable in the Variable Explorer. We can see that string variable hello world 2 has been created, though it is not been printed yet. Only thing that is printed is hello world 1. We can also observe that the arrow for execution has moved to line 5 from line 3. Now we can execute the next line. As soon as we execute, you can see that variable window will remain same because the variable will still be there, but we will see that the value of variable is now printed in the console. Alright, hello world 2 has been printed and it has also printed return, which means that the program has executed completely. There are no more lines to execute. We can see our last variable, which is still here, and if we have, let's say, n number of variables, then all of those variables will be available for us to inspect at the end of execution. Now to stop the debugging, you can click the red square button or the Ctrl Shift F12, which is the shortcut here. We will wrap our small tutorial on Spyder code editor here. In this lesson, we have seen how to write a simple program in Spyder, how to run it, and how to debug it using breakpoint. Now, before we move to the next session, where we will have an introduction to the Jupyter notebook, we have to understand one thing here, that both Spyder and Jupyter program are primarily code editor. They both provide us the environment where we can write the code and solve data science and machine learning problems. However, in Jupyter, because the coding is done in a browser like a Google Chrome or any browser, it brings another set of useful features which are like data visualization. Now, visualization, why we need it? In data science, we are going to deal with a lot of data, and visualization is a very important aspect to understand the data. We cannot read the data just line by line or reading all the figures. So the best way to read the data is visualize it in one or the other form of graph that we are going to see in our next session. So let's head to our next session in our journey and see what Jupyter has to offer for us. Stay tuned everyone. We are making big strides now.